Welcome back to TheChowTimePod. It's your host, Red. We got a videos a day from No Fugazi Podcast. Baggage, the bane of a new relationship. Discernment, people. Please like, subscribe down below. I really appreciate that. Let's get it. Ciao. It's chow time.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, since we were like going back and forth, so I wanted to know, what are ways in a relationship that a couple can build trust and respect for each other?
Pastor?
I mean, I think that you got to start from the beginning. I understand your view of vulnerability because it's absolutely possible for men and women. And it's one of the saddest things I've seen where people they're no longer their best self. Like you were a better you for a worse dude. And now you're making this new dude pay the back tax for the last dude that was crap.
That's why I
And
said
you were
that.
actually more vulnerable, or you actually served more, or you made sandwiches for that dude. But then after that dude cheated on
Start
you,
to put
you're
up
like,
walls.
now I'm not making sandwiches no more. Now you meet a dude that's actually worth a sandwich, but you won't make it. So I think that you do have to trust again. You have to forgive. That's what you were talking about. You gotta let them go because they ain't even thinking about you. You're just holding on, and you're only hurting yourself.
And it's been more peace for myself too.
More peace for you, no doubt. And I think you do have to be able to share, and you have to be open and honest. And I think that you have to find someone that you see the world in a similar way. So
We talk about this, right? You need similar backgrounds. You need similar foundations. You need similar morals. You need similar goals. If you both want a family, you both want to have a nice kids, you guys both want, a legacy together. That's what's going to make you guys successful in your marriage and in your relationship. It's not because she looks hot, she got a big booty, oh, I'm rich, and, I got all this money. Now I got big muscles, I can do whatever I want. No, it's not that. It's always been about the things that matter. Morals, character, future planning together. What is your goals together?
like when you were talking about the polygamy guy, it's like, well, if you know from the beginning that's not going to work for you, then you got to be honest up front at the beginning, because if you can agree about those things, then it'll help. But it's harder when, you don't trust and you don't believe. And now, you're starting to get shook about yourself and you settled.
This whole learning to trust and believe thing, men are also in this boat. A lot of us don't trust women, period, who would never listen to what they say. Everything that comes out of their mouth we think is false until proven otherwise, which is a good way to go about it to protect yourself. But it's a horrible way to go about it to actually try to find a good mate, to tell the truth, because you were alienating all these other things about people.
So I think that it's important to share. It's important to talk. A lot of the things that we talked about right here, it's important to be upfront and to be honest about where you are. But I also think that one of the things that's important too is,
but what are some of the ways that they could do it? That's what I mean.
like, you need to be careful not to write too much in ink. Like, write in pencil. Like dudes like to feel like, hey, like this is where you are right now. Like, make your plans. But let's be honest, if you meet the right dude and he's got the right stuff going on,
gotta erase that.
You'll be able to erase that. But
Don't set it in stone.
if it's too set in stone, then
it's not gonna.
the kind of guy you want. Because if you want a guy that's got his own money, his own power, his own life, his own drive, his own purpose, then he's going to want you to come along with him on that journey. And so, if you want to maintain your flexibility, because that's what.
It's interesting because they're actually a lot more open to listening to the pastor speak than they would be Cooley, which is understandable because of the position that the pastor's in. So I guess as we build clout, as we build, our reputation, people look to us a little bit differently as we build a name for ourselves or be a good person in a sense. Like, the pastor sounds like he's a really good man. He sounds like he knows what he's talking about. It sounds like he genuinely cares. So it makes me happy to hear the pastor speaking, and then that women are kind of absorbing it and trying to absorb it at least. I don't know if they're fully absorbing it, But
what you all want. We said it earlier, like women think they want to be in charge till they're really in charge.
Yep.
And when you really become in charge, you're like, you're a little boy. And you're not really interested in a little boy, you're interested in a grown man. And so but for that guy to come, he has to feel like, I get it. Like, you're coming out of this bad situation but you've healed. So you're good. So if I'm asking you to come along with me, you're not like, yeah, but I did that the last time. So I think that's a big thing, for women to be healed within yourself. What you're saying is really good. You got to be healed within yourself.
Yeah, you have to.
Because no one can heal you but you and God, and that's important.
And that's a good analogy he made, the pencil and the eraser. You want to write things in, well, pretty much you said ink and then pencil. You want to write things in pencil sometimes for a woman, because if you write things in ink, you become more hardened. And
I agree with men too. Like when men ink what they want in a woman, it becomes very difficult to find that woman because you're not willing to erase, you're not willing to go back on it. I have no solid grounds for a woman or in ink. It's in paper, it's in pencil. What are my Baker's goals? Morals. Is she frugal? Is she a family oriented? Does she want to raise a family with me? And then everything else after that, looks, can be penciled in. Height, prefer to be shorter, but can be penciled in. Race, prefer Asians, but can be penciled in. We need to be a little bit more flexible with some of these things, especially if we want to be a passport bro and do all these things. Not every woman out there is going to fit whatever's in our mind, just like how women, materialize men or try to materialize men or a Superman when that man never existed in the first place. We just got to be a little realistic to, which men are. I agree that, we're willing to take off points in certain areas. And when another area has really high points, which equates for us. But we still got to give a little bit of, I don't know what to say, room for error.
And a man doesn't want a hardened woman. He doesn't want a masculine woman. He wants a woman that's going to let down her guard and be vulnerable, because we accept a woman being vulnerable. And not only that's what we want the woman to be. You feel what I'm saying? So, yeah, man. And writing things in pencil, like you said, then you wrote it down. That was up for that man. But that pencil got an eraser on it. You meet that new dude, you had them walls up. Oh, okay. You're going to erase this for the new dude. You're going to put them walls down. Yeah. So, and it's funny is because usually when a woman goes through something and experience adversities and some trauma and some heartache from a man or from anything, in some way, shape, or form, it hardens her and it makes her more masculine to some degree. To some degree it does. And I talked about it before on the podcast. You may not agree with it, but when you look at it from a man's point of view, we want the softest, feminine, sweetest, kind-hearted. We walk through the door, she's bubbly, she's giggly. That's what makes us feel great. We want to be the superhero in this story. So when a woman experiences things, and even if she overcame those things, now meaning that she's healed. Yeah. But when she gets with the new guy, she got them walls up. So exactly like he said, you really need to write it down. That was good. Can I steal that one? Yeah, I'm going to steal that one. Write it down in pencil instead of ink, because then you can erase that. You don't have to have those walls up and be so masculine and be a man. We want a woman.
And that's the thing for me. Every relationship that I've been in, I always seem to go into it with a clean slate.
That's good.
And I've made sure that I'm aware of that.
That's what I always want to say to you guys. Just go at it with a clean slate, but protect yourself. I'm not saying go at it and be fucking dumb and just, I'm saying go at it, give people chances. And then when they show you who they truly are, that's when you either toss them to the fucking streets where they belong, or you build something with them. But give people equal chances.
Because I don't like to bring that emotional baggage into my next relationship. And I've been through some bad relationships. I've been physically, emotionally mentally abused. And yet I still go into the next relationship the same way, clean slate. You know what? I'm not going to punish him for what he did.
Yeah.
You know, so.
And I'll speak about it briefly about a biological way that a woman really can't fully she can overcome the traumas and adversities, but the man, he just views it differently. Yeah. Because when a man experiences adversities and trauma, well, normally all human beings, we have to adjust. So how do we adjust? We're usually a little bit more non-agreeable.
Yeah.
Well, usually when something happened to you, you were agreeable too much. Usually then you take on another characteristic trait of being more assertive. Well, okay, that didn't happen right for me. Let me assert myself more. Then maybe a little bit more dominant, because you don't want to be dominated like you was before and taken advantage of like you was before. So all human beings take on these characteristic traits when they go through things, adversities and trauma. It just so happens to be that when a man takes on these characteristic traits, when he's overcoming things, he's a more masculine man. He went through something. And the woman views it. I'm just saying that the woman views it as more masculine. He's more dominant, more assertive, more non-agreeable. He can lead the right way. You trust this man. Mm-hmm. You'll trust him with your life.
Masculinity takes time. I'm here to admit it. It takes time. There's no one that's fucking masculine when they're born. No one is masculine when they're 18 or whatever the hell it is. It takes a good amount of time to be a masculine man, to understand yourself, to understand the world and what you are in it.
But guess what? The woman takes on those same characteristic traits too. The man just doesn't view it the same. We view it as, God dang, you more masculine. You trying to be like me. Calm down a little bit. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So the thing is that what you can't escape, and no woman can escape it. When you go through things, and you do overcome it, it's inevitable that you will take on some more masculine traits. But Pastor Andy did give some gems. He said, if you write in pencil and not in pen, that'll help you out. Yeah. So yeah. Anybody else?
What if what advice would you have if you
see? I like Cooley's show. I like this podcast a lot because the women that come on here actually genuinely come and ask questions. They're genuinely curious about men. They're genuinely curious of what the fuck's going on. And the way Cooley and his co-hosts come on and like speak on the subject, very well spoken. Not trashing the women, not really, calling them whores or 304s or anything. The women are a lot more receptive to it. This is why I enjoy his podcast, especially over like Fresh and Fit's podcast. In a sense, they're very similar, but different.
erase too much?
What you mean? No boundaries?
If you go in, if you've been through something and then you go into the next relationship
With a
and
clean slate.
you go in with the clean
Well,
slate.
you want to have discernment. You want to have discernment. Discernment is the ability to make good judgment. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you want to you want to, and you gather that the way to have discernment, to make a discerned decision and choices and things, is you have to be more disciplined. Think about it. If I'm not disciplined, if I'm smoking, masturbating, drinking, I'm always going out to the club, well, I really can't trust I can't trust my own actions, so therefore I can't trust my own choices that I'm really making, because I'm making bad choices. Correct. So then I'll choose a more masculine woman. I'll choose the girl that's on the stripper pole. I'll choose the girl that's doing OnlyFans. I'll choose those type of women because I lack the discipline within myself, and we always tend to project. So I'm saying this: how you overcome that part is you have to be more disciplined yourself. If you are more disciplined, guess what? If you're a pure woman and you know that you weren't doing these things, normally we all project. You want what's in yourself almost. You want the morality that you hold in yourself. And you want this man to embody those same moral characteristic traits. So if you're immoral, obviously you're going to attract and accept another immoral person.
Damn right.
What if it's almost like you're fooled? Like they put on a mask for so long and
discernment.
Then
I was gonna say that's discernment.
Yeah, that's discernment. So that's just, once again, if you're disciplined, right? The more disciplined you are, and then also if you look at your own experiences, meaning that memories is only for one thing. Memories, when we have a memory, is for one thing, is to extract lessons learned. It's not to dwell on negative emotions and whatever else is going on. Extract lessons learned. So when you experience life, you extract the lesson learned, and then that creates discernment there. That's opening up the discernment box for you. Then you put in you being disciplined. Well, god dang, you'll know when this dude is lying, talking about he's single when he's really married. The way he conveys himself and stuff like that. You'll pick up on the red flags, the way he's incongruent in things. You'll pick up on all these things because you embody good characteristic traits yourself.
That's deep. No, that was deep.
Shout outs to Kula. Yes, even us men don't have great discernment. Why? Because look at all the sports stars. Look at all these, rich men that are marrying or fucking around with, 304s that are trying to screw their lives over. We also have horrible discernment. We need to get better. Please subscribe down below. I really appreciate it. And I catch you guys next time.